Mike Stowell's thoughts. Mike, how many times? First of all, thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here, guys. It's always a pleasure.
Mike, how many times do you think I could bench press Caleb's body weight?
Dude, so I don't think he's 108. Maybe if he had on like a couple pairs of pants and some wet sweaters or something. I don't think he breaks triple digits, which I was thinking about that during the break. When I was 6 years old, I weighed 98 pounds. So just like that's a tiny individual right there as I think about it. Yeah, I mean, Dave, I don't know. Are your shoulders good? Are you healthy with your shoulders or?
Well, my old throwing arm gives me some trouble, but other than that,
so I think the 6 to 10 range is doable.
Caleb weighs about $156.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah, I'm gonna try tomorrow, but I feel quite certain I could get 8.
Yeah, 6 to 10. Depends on if the adrenaline's pumping and if you
start pre-workout that's eventually going to take me down.
So it's all about timing, how you get the reps down and everything like that. So it's
keeping your elbows in.
Yeah, that's right. Start too fast, you get your form off. It's gonna slow you down. So,
Mike, Dave has really been dreaming about picking up this slender body. And
whoa. We're talking about
he's been talking about it for like the whole show about how what he could do if he picked up my body, my very slim, thin body.
Am I on the right show? I mean, I don't feel right now.
Yeah, it's our new OnlyFans version. Mike, what's the most you could bench at any one point in time? What's the most you put up and you're like, heck yeah?
Man. I wasn't a great bench. I wasn't super strong in the bench, but I got like 425. That was my most. But you see kids now, the numbers are just obscene. They're just bigger and stronger, and it's like, God, that's nothing now. But I was good and had good leg strength, so that was good.
Yep. Now you're also a technician, which we talked about when you came on the program last week, and you voiced some very real and pertinent concerns about Tennessee's offensive tackles. A win doesn't mean that everything's cured, but what did you see on Saturday that maybe makes you more optimistic about them in the future?
So I was encouraged, and I thought about that. It's like you always kind of have, some of those guys, like they're going to have a really good game, right? Somebody's they're going to play well. And I think the tackles played, one of their better games. Do they improve from that, or do they kind of revert back to what they did? I do think some of the schemes that they had, so they had, the H-back in motion, they'd help chip. They kind of, some of the misdirection slowed the rush down a little bit. Their sets were quicker. When I say quicker, they're not, so you see some of these NFL guys, they're deep setting, and that gives a guy, somebody that's a good edge rusher, that gives them 4 or 5 yards of start to really, use that momentum in their advantage to either get around him or get under him or see where they're going and set them up. So their quicker sets, I think, help. And that's a smart move, because when you do that, it stops the initial rush. These guys are really, really big, right? They're both like 6'6", 350, 340, right? Massive individuals. So, you as a defensive person, you want to get them going somewhere, because it's hard for them to change direction because they're so big. So if you quick set on them and use that big body and you stab them right there so they don't get rolling, they don't get you to kind of use your momentum, I think that was a smart move, and it's better sets by them that helped. Do they continue to do that? And again, I thought last week's like, okay, you have a game usually where you play really well. And I think the tackles played better. I think John Campbell in the last 2 games, he's had holding penalties in each game, right? My career at Tennessee had 1 holding penalty, and I questioned that holding penalty. It was against Kentucky, and I called BS for it, and then I got a personal foul for calling BS, and then they pulled me out of the game, and then it was like second and forever, and then they ran a screenplay, and Charlie Garner scores. So I'm like, yeah. I do think they've improved. Now, how do they take the week off? How do they take what they saw on film? So now We'll see what Eberle does. We'll see what kind of coach he is, because can you take the films like, this is how you play, right? This game, you watch this game, and then you watch a game where you didn't do it well, and you try and get them to think of, okay, this is what I'm going to do moving forward. This is how I need to play. And now they've seen it, they've done it, and you kind of start telling your body, okay, I need to work on this. I need to fix this. This is how I need to control my body to play. So they did play better.
So, Mike, first of all, someone just said not super strong could bench a Ford Fiesta. I also drive a Ford Fiesta, so the hate for me is just rolling in. But at least I have a Ford, so I drive a car that didn't have to get bailed out by taxpayer dollars in 2009. So yeah, that's right.
We want to thank our friends at Varner Ford for bringing you Jimmy Himes each and every Wednesday. Sorry.
Yes, there we go. So Mike, I want to ask you a little bit. How much of the improvement at the tackles do you think, did they just look more comfortable, or do you think we had talked about them they had been banged up, both of them, and it seemed like were they a little more comfortable, or did they just look quicker because they were healthier in this game?
Oh, I think we lost you, Mike.
Mike, we lost your mic.
You did?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah. Oh, I swear I didn't touch anything. So
I believe you. Caleb can't figure this thing out either.
Yeah, I think from a standpoint of I don't know what their health was. I know they're banged up a little bit, and you want to try and play as well as you possibly can. I did see Dane Davis in there a little bit. They're moving some people around. I do think they've heard a lot, and they probably this is where you've got enough data under your belt as a coach to say, okay, he can't handle these deep sets, and we've got to do that. Now, still in the first half, they struggled a little bit at times, and there was still some pressure, and I think Nico was uncomfortable. You look at the second half, you started seeing some options. You see Nico flush outside. You see the pocket move, and what that does is that slows down the defense. They're kind of like, okay, I got to start respecting the run. I got to start respecting the option. I got to respect him rolling out and making the throws, or he's tucking and running. You saw Nico in the second half significantly run the ball more, or design kind of empty set, I'm going to run the ball. And so with that, what that does for your tackles is that slows down that rush. So you can quick set on him, because now they're like, okay, is this he's hitting me quick? Is this a run? Is this a pass? What's going on? So I think the scheme helped for that. On the health side, I'm not so much sure, because again, if they are hampered with a leg injury and they're slower with their sets, that can matter. But if you're out there, the thing is, like, man, if you're out there, you better be able to play. You better be able to go 100%, suck it up, tune it out, and go play.
Mike, we were discussing this is Tennessee's best 7 days in football since, and we went back to 2022 when Tennessee beat LSU and Alabama. Caleb pulled a Butch Jones year out. I don't know why I did that, but I went back to 92. And
Davis throwing shots at me whenever he gets a chance
just
in this.
Random. I'm going to video me benching your body weight tomorrow morning, by the way. But I went back to 92 when you guys beat Florida and Georgia back to back. And then it's like, oh, wow, everything's going great. And then you lost 3 games in a row later that year. So how do you feel good about yourself if you're Tennessee, but still not too good? Now, there were a lot of things going on that year as well.
Yeah. So I think if people don't talk about this much, but you look at 1998, why did Tennessee win a national title, right? It's because their defense was unbelievable. They won with defense. And what is Tennessee really good at right now is defense. So everybody talks about T. Martin and all this wonderful. Like, look, you go back to his first game against Syracuse, he wasn't great. He beat Syracuse because he had a couple scrambles and one with his legs. He struggled at times. He hit his stride against South Carolina. I think he completed 22 or 23 passes in a row. So I liken this more of, okay, you've got an offense that's still trying to figure things out. You've got a quarterback that at times has done, like, the touchdown pass that he threw, and he was in stride with Brazel, and it just landed in the right spot. He has his flashes, but then you look at the overthrows, you're like, oh my gosh, that guy was wide open. He was way over. So there's still some things from development from that standpoint. So I think, this bye week comes at a really good time, right? You had a rough 3 games where you played Arkansas, Florida, Alabama. You're 2-3. Now, if we'd have looked at that at the beginning of the year and said, you play those 3 games and you're 2-3, you'd be like, I'm pretty happy with that. Because you're still where you want to be. You still have things in front of you that are within reach as far as an SEC title, SEC championship game, and making it into the playoffs. So I think you look now and say, okay, here's our book of works. Here's where we've come from offensively. Our defense is so stinking good, and these players keep getting better, and our depth keeps getting better, and it's next man up, and I think that's key. But I think now you've got a week to kind of say, okay, Nico, here's what you need to work on. Offensive line, here's what you need to work on. Receivers, right? You want to see your receivers continue to develop and grow and show up. And so I think, the bye week is a great time. I think it comes where, hey, things are good. Your offense isn't as bad. They've kind of seen enough things on film to know what to correct. And so your defense is great. Your offense can continue to build and grow. You still got some tough games. Like I don't like Kentucky. I don't like playing Vanderbilt. I'm not so much worried about because I've seen some of the way our defense plays disciplined football and they tackle. Not worried about that. And then I look at obviously the showdown with Georgia. So how do you handle that? So those are kind of your key games coming up. Build on what you have. Look to the future, but this open week really, I think, comes at a good time because you've got enough information to build and to correct. And now it's like, okay, guys, we know what's in front of us. Let's go finish this back half.
Portions of the program brought to you by our friends at Quality Tire Pros, serving Chattanooga's community since 1957. All major brands of tires, full service automotive, brakes, alignments, oil changes, and more. QualityTirePros.com. QualityTirePros.com. Tell Bo that Dave and Off the Hook Sports said, hey, Bo. All right, Caleb, close us out.
Yeah, so Mike, we got to talk a few more positives because, again, I repeat it every week, but it's the interior of the offensive line. We're all talking about the narratives of the tackles turning a corner, the quarterback turning a corner. Can we just talk a little bit about how good the interior play has been, though, with Cooper Mays, Javonte Spraggins, and Andre Carrick, and just how they've been wearing down teams in the second half consistently?
Yeah, I mean, Javonte Spraggins, I've liked it. He plays with a bit of a, just a meanness to him, and that's how you got to play the position at guard. Cooper is just fantastic, how he plays and how he sets and how he understands the game, like from a X's and O's and knowing what to do, and is kind of the leader on the front to get everybody on the same page. Neil has really grown well. I think he's improving. And so I think that those interior 3 are big. Dylan Sampson is not leading the SEC in rushing because you've got Dylan Sampson's just like an unbelievable freak phenom speeder, right? He's quick, he's fast, but I think your inside 3 guys are really the key to why he's been successful. Now, he's taken a lot of hits at the line of scrimmage and he's dove and gotten 2 or 3 yards, making it much more manageable. And I love his fight. But those 3 guys inside, they have set the tone well. If your tackles can improve and they can kind of hold that edge a little bit better and they're, being a little bit firmer so the pocket doesn't collapse on Nico, I think that is the key to Tennessee taking this a long way and going on a long run.
Hey, I'm going to throw a comparison out there for you guys real quick. Mike, I didn't mean to keep you this long, but if you have just a minute longer. So the debate when I was a youth was Barry Sanders or Emmitt Smith. So I don't want to go down that road because everybody's going to say Barry, and then I'll get defensive because I'm a Cowboys fan. But people would say with Barry, you have the sidestep, you have the spin moves, you had all that. With LaDainian Tomlinson, you had how he could drive with the outside foot and bounce it outside. You had all these guys that Eric Dickerson, top speed. But I want to make a comparison, and I'm not comparing them as elite players, but I think the one thing that Dylan Sampson has is what Emmitt Smith had, and that is he gets every yard out of almost every piece of blocking that he gets. There's rarely a time where I say, ooh, he should have got 9 and just got 3 or 4. It seems like whatever blocking he gets, he maximizes it every time.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I guess my question is, have you ever seen Sampson get knocked back?
No.
That's right. So, see, he's fighting forward, man. And so as an offensive lineman, I respect that. I love that because that means that guy is a dog and he's fighting. And he's fighting for every inch that he has. And so that's and it's kind of he's come to become kind of the vocal leader on the team, one of those guys. And so you're right. I think, those are the kind of guys, Emmitt Smith always fighting forward. Even Barry Sanders and some of his spin moves and stuff, he maybe tries to do too much. But, Dylan Sampson has a spin move, but everything he does is with purpose to get as much yardage or every single inch that he possibly can. That's the impressive thing about him is he doesn't have like a big, long 70, 80 yard long. Now he'll burst a couple, but he's fighting for every single yard so that it does set up when he gets it. He's going for it.
Awesome stuff, Mike. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Glad to be on, guys. Caleb, man, a Ford Fiesta, and you're going to let Dave Hooker bench you and
I want to be real clear. Nobody's benching each other. But what I am going to do is I'm going to put 155 pounds on a bar tomorrow because I did back today, so I can do that tomorrow. And I think I can get over 8. I'm putting the over under at 8.5.
Yeah, I would. I'd go under 8.5.
Oh, that hurts.
now, are you locking out? Are you touching? Are you getting? Are you not arching your back? You got your butt on the bench.
My butt will be on the bench. I will arch my back a little bit because I think you're supposed to do that, right?
You can arch, but you can't arch it to where your butt comes off the bench. You got to be touching the bench, or that doesn't count.
But on bench, touching chest, locked out, I got it 10 times.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a lot.
Thank you. Mike doesn't know whether to vote on my lack of strength or Caleb's lack of girth.
Yeah,
what? All right. Thank you, Mike.
Did James just talk about? Never mind.
It's gonna
lack of girth.
Go. Just let that go completely.